only.
What is going on, Burban Lifers? Hope you're doing well. Hope you having a great week. We're actually supposed to be traveling. However, due to South Florida weather, our flight got canceled, and the remaining flights for the rest of the week got canceled too. We were supposed to visit family, and that's not happening. So I thought it'd be a great opportunity to redo this video because I actually filmed this entire video on the GoPro, went to go upload it into the computer, and for whatever reason, the SD card was corrupted. I don't know how, I didn't drop it. I've been babying the SD cards because you hear a ton of horror stories about these SD cards not working. So I don't know what happened. So leave your comments down below. I know I'm learning this. Let me know if there's a way to recover footage. I didn't have much on this particular SD card, but I did record like an outro video, final review thoughts of the Baseline Overland roof rack. So I'm bringing that to you today again. And it is nasty, nasty weather out, as you can see behind me. And I thought, what better way than to show you the roof rack in the garage. As you can see, the Burb fits. So for those of you who guessed, if the Burb fits in a 30-year-old home in South Florida, the garage, well, it does. It fits. Door closes and opens barely. If you want to do laundry, which laundry is piling up, I gotta park the Burb on this side. My wife's RAV4 actually does fit on the other side, but that's how we gotta do it to do laundry. If the door is closed, we can access laundry. So I'm gonna open the garage now, and you can see I can't, like, literally just barely. I wish we had the GoPro so I could flip this around. It like just barely fits. Literally just fits. So with my wife's RAV4, we can park it right here and we can still do laundry. Now we do have to open the garage to go around the Burb, but I cannot believe this. It literally, if I raise it up, and I'm really happy because we obviously get nasty weather, and being an older vehicle, I want to try to prolong this as long as possible. So being able to pull it into the garage and get it out of the weather, especially when hurricane comes, that's gonna be nice. So let me flip you guys around, and I'm gonna go a little in depth. I did have to, side note, I did have to install this this foot down workbench, so to speak, so that we can pull the Burb into the garage. But I'm gonna flip the camera around, and we're gonna talk about in-depth review on installing and figuring out this whole roof rack. Plus, my eyes keep going back and forth, I'm sure, in the video, so I gotta get that dialed. Baseline Overland. Baseline Overland. No, Baseline Overland. Where do I begin? They make a phenomenal product for Suburban, and I know they make a bunch of products for other vehicles as well. I think they tailor a lot of their stuff to like older vehicles. They call it the underdeserved, or just vehicles that do great over land. This is no exception. This roof rack was just flawlessly machined, executed, shipped. I mean, when they shipped the box out, everything was shipped so well. There are a few caveats, which anybody with a little bit of ingenuity can kind of figure things out to make it work for their needs. I didn't read the instructions. I mean, you have to go on their site and download a PDF. And I just said, you know what? I installed one of these initially on my wife's RAV4, as you can see here. This is from Prinsu, and my wife's was from Prinsu. However, this is very similar. Everything was very, very, very similar. So as you can see, we got the light bar up there all wired up. I didn't read the instructions, but based on a few of the photos from when I bought it, I'm like, yeah, I could piece this together. However, they made it a point to say when you put it up for the very first time, keep everything loose, all the nuts and bolts relatively loose. And the issue I was having when I threw it up there was nothing lined up. There's 6 factory bolts on each side from the factory roof rack, nothing lined up. And I'm like, did they send out the wrong roof rack, and I was like, it can't be. This is a 10-foot roof rack. This is a long vehicle, other than, you know, like a Ford Excursion or something of that era, some vehicle of that area. I'm like, this can't be the wrong roof rack. It fits up there nicely. I'm like, why aren't the holes lining up? Well, the second I loosened up the roof rack, it literally dropped into place. And then kind of going corner to corner, star bolt pattern like you do with wheels, I was able to cinch it down. And let me tell you what, this thing is not going anywhere. I'm shaking the whole, let me see if I can be pretty steady for you guys. I am shaking the entire vehicle and that thing's not going anywhere. So once I loosened up a lot of the bolts, the feet, if you can see, the feet, boom, they all kind of lined up. They lined up perfectly. And once I did that, everything dropped into place. I loosened up a lot of the crossbars just to give me some extra play, and I cinched everything down. These plates I initially installed backwards. You can see over there, the plate, I don't know if you can see that. The plate I had on the outside gave a much cleaner look by installing it on the inside, the way it should have been from the beginning. Shout out to my neighbor who's a master mechanic. He was like, don't those plates go on the other side? It would look a lot better. I was like, yeah. So there was a lot of, once it was built on the ground and I threw it up there, the part that takes the most time is just kind of lining everything up, making sure this line looks good. Let me get my hand out of there so it focuses. There was a lot of just adjusting once you threw it up. The other thing I wanted to touch base was this particular 05 Suburban has XM, Sirius XM, and then radio, the radio antenna. Well, this front fairing was actually hitting the bottom of this XM antenna, and on the other side there's a little stud with a screw for the rubber radio antenna. Well, I removed the rubber radio antenna and it still hit, so I had to grind down the stud, and that side fit perfectly, but this side touched. So what I did was, and I'll throw a clip in, I think I still have this video saved, I just ground down with a Dremel the backside and it fit much better. I mean, the fitment, as you can see, is up a little bit, but you know, once this gets dirty, you're not really gonna notice it that much. Also, this threshold that came with the roof rack was a lot smaller. Like, this pipe, I don't know what you call this threshold pipe was probably like a 1/4 inch. Well, this is 3/4 inch piping. Once I ground down the front valance and I trimmed the bolt head, I was able to get this to sit closer. However, the rubber piping was still too small and there was a gap along the front. And with that gap, you could have the potential. I didn't take it down the road at higher speed, so I can't tell you for sure, but I know from the Silverado that if this isn't touching, if this rubber threshold isn't touching and cinched down tight to the roof of the vehicle, you're gonna have this nasty whistle wind noise in the cab, and it's just, listening to that constantly, it's just so annoying. So I wanted to make sure that I got that dialed. I learned that from the roof rack of the Silverado, which this roof rack for the Silverado is actually made for like an old, an 01 Tundra, 02 Tundra, or whatever that generation is. So it's a lot smaller, as you can see. It's a lot smaller because it's made for that generation Tundra, whatever that is. But once I put the roof rack on the Silverado, I'm like, I need a roof rack on the Burb, because it just transforms the utility of the vehicle, and it just makes it so much more useful. As you can see, you can add a light bar. I got the Rome water tank on the Silverado, and plus I think it just changes the look. It just goes from a normal Suburban, even though this is the 8.1 with the bigger tires all blacked out, to just a tank. It just looks it's such a beast of a look, and it's unique, which I love. And at the end of the day, it's 90% looks. Let's be honest, this is what we build our rigs out for. It's really just for looks. So what else? So once I got the threshold dialed, which this thing, as you can see, I mean, this front valance is as low as humanly possible. Like, as I was tightening up the bolts, I was like pushing and pulling it down. So it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. I also installed the light bar first on that front crossbar. I installed it first just so it's easier when it's up there, and then I just had to worry about wiring it up to the trigger controller, which I'll show you here in a second. But once, as you can see, the light bar sits, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it sits just above, slightly. I mean, this light bar isn't going anywhere. It's cinched down and with Loctite and everything. So, and then I put these black caps just to kind of clean up the look. It sits just above, but I went through it off the Silverado. I went through a bunch of different brackets and these kind of fit the best. I got the roof rack with a cutout. As you can see, it doesn't go, you see the little cutout there. It doesn't go all the way. You can obviously, if you're not gonna run a light bar, you can run it flush with the top of the roof rack. So, which also looks, I've seen those on the internet and those also look really, really good. So light bar sits great. I'm trying to think of what else. Outside of the threshold not sitting flush because of if they notched out the XM antenna a little bit more, it would sit flush on both sides. And I'm assuming the threshold that they send would then fit. I don't know, I can't confirm that. But I think if I was able to ground down the Sirius XM portion a little more, I can get it to sit flush, and then I could use the stock threshold. That's just my, I don't know, that's just the thoughts in my mind. I can't really confirm that, but she looks so good. So then, once I got that all set, the other issue too is you have to be careful with over tightening and stripping down these bolts. I think I said this in another video, I might upgrade these to like a hex head bolt. Eventually I might order them from some machining shop, black. But for now they're good. I don't know if they are stainless. They might be coated with something, but I noticed one kind of starting to rust out. And if you over tighten these, you have to be very cautious, because if you over tighten these, they do strip pretty easily. So forewarn. As you can see, I got the wire for the light bar running. There's the end of that connection, and then it literally runs along the entire roof rack and literally drops right in here. There's like a natural channel behind this fairing, goes down through the light, the tail light, and then goes all the way up front to the trigger controller, which I'll show you right here. Pop the hood, boom, goes right into the trigger controller. Wow, it is super wet. Everything I do to this Burb has been a learning lesson, because I already kind of did it on the Silverado, which has a very similar chassis, very similar body. I mean, obviously it's a truck, but everything I've learned from the Silverado, I'm trying to do super, super clean on this Burb, because I want it looking clean. I want it done right. I've just learned so much from the Silverado, and I'm applying that to the Burb. That way, if there's issues down the line, I can kind of trace the issues quickly, trace them, knock them down, fix them, get them done quick. I love the trigger controller because I can just, there's 6 accessory slots. So I got rock lights, I got the light bar, and I have the ditch lights currently. So what other switches? The fog lights, the diode dynamic fog lights are off the factory switch. So that leaves me with 3 switches left. As you can see, when I turn on here, boom, that thing is so bright. I'll give you a night view too. Got the trigger controller. Oh, and then I don't know if I even showed you. Boom, that switch does the rock lights, which I know rock lights typically tend to go under the wheel wells to showcase for show trucks, kind of showcase all the components and the suspension, but I want to be able to see if I'm stepping in and out of a puddle, so that's why the rock lights are there. And you got the ditch lights. And what I love about the trigger controller is you could literally, it's magnetic, pull this out, put it on your truck. If you're at camp, put it back here, boom. And you can also, you can't see now because I got my phone, but you can also control the trigger controller via your phone, which is awesome. I'll eventually show you a little video on GoPro, but all in all, I'm super happy with the roof rack. Oh, before I forget, one issue we had from the factory, from shipping, opening boxes, I noticed 3 crossbars came in unthreaded that you probably already saw, but I had to obviously try and tap out the crossbar so that I can throw them up there. There is still one I'm waiting on. Baseline, they are a phenomenal company. They're very responsive. When I reached out with questions, I got answers very quickly. So I can't knock Baseline. They stand behind their product. They'll support you if needed. They're sending out 1 crossbar because when we tried to tap it, the tap broke and it like was hardened and we couldn't get it out. We couldn't extract the tap to then re-tap it. It was just a mess. So 3 crossbars came in just on one side. It was weird, and you know, no one's to blame. Everybody makes mistakes. I totally get it. It's the first time I'm dealing with this roof rack and this company, and I think they're very, very open to learning from their mistakes and everything. So they stand behind their product. They reached out, they fixed the issue, they resolved the issue very quickly, and that's what I love. I love dealing with companies that support a market that's not really there. I mean, how many Overland Suburbans from 2005 do you see? Not too many. It's typically newer Tacomas, newer 4Runners, Jeeps, you name it. So I love the fact that this company is supporting this sort of market. You know, they're fulfilling the needs of this sort of market. So, and with that being said, I will let you know that dual swing out rear bumper is coming. It's ordered, it's on its way. I don't know when it will be here, but I'm super stoked to really get this thing dialed. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, but the lower portion has been wrapped. I peeled off the, I don't even know what you call those, that came from the factory. The stops, the bump stops, the ding, I don't even know what you call them, but I peeled those off, and unfortunately, the residue from the tape, I just could not get that off. I tried the 3M rubber grinding wheel, and there was that infamous line from the factory, because those things were on there for 20 plus years. So I'm like, you know what, let's just wrap it, and I think it matches the tires. It looks really, really, really well. So let me go around and kind of show you from this angle. I just wrapped the lower half, and I think it just kind of ties in with the satin wheels, the satin wrap that goes all the way around the bottom. I mean, honestly, the truck completely satin would look sick, but I think she's coming along great. I love the look. This is the look that I was going for in my mind all along, and it's great to see your thoughts actually come to fruition. So let me flip this phone back around and give you the official outro. I'm just trying to think of anything else with the roof rack. Maybe bring on another person to help kind of put it up and cinch it down. Maybe it'll go a little bit quicker. But other than that, like you kind of saw in this video, I was able to slide it up on the bird by myself. Don't put all the crossbars up, do like 4. I had 5 up there and it was super heavy already with the light bar. So maybe do like 3 or 4, the front 2 and maybe 2 here kind of in the middle. And then you can throw it up there. But yeah, having another set of hands. My wife is pregnant. I didn't want her, she would have, but I didn't want her lifting anything too heavy. But I was able to kind of piece this all together. My neighbor's a master mechanic, so he always has some great insight when I'm doing projects like this, even though this is kind of more of the aftermarket realm. He doesn't deal with aftermarket. He always has some great insights with obviously vehicle and torque specs and cinching things down. He has just the experience. So all in all, I'm just so stoked on the way this project is turning out. It's a work in progress. I know we haven't done many adventures, but they are coming, I promise you. We have a baby on the way, pregnant wife, we have a 2-year-old, so getting out on excursions has been a lot harder. We've gone on one, but the overall idea for this vehicle is just to be a prepared daily driver. Just have it be a rig that we can count on at all times. It's just dialed. It can do way more than from the factory, and that's what this is slowly turning into. I mean, with the dual swing out coming in, we'll have a spare tire, so in case we get a flat. As a matter of fact, my wife got a flat tire, and I just literally hopped through the little guy in the back, and I hopped in this thing because I had all my tools ready to go to fix a flat. So I'm just super happy with the way this is coming out. This has been a vision in my mind, and I just want this thing to be an adventure rig, family hauler, kind of do everything and just create memories, create adventures, and just be able to go where not a lot of people can go and take their vehicles. That's the whole point, just to get out, explore, and go where there's nobody. So my dad and this Silverado, Pop, shout out to you, and this old Silverado, we created a lot of camping memories. I want to do the same, but in a burb, because I feel like the Silverado, while it has its pluses and minuses, being able to haul people comfortably in a big vehicle like this, and it being the 8.1 2500, it can tow a ton, because eventually it'd be cool to have an RV, so we can do real long road trips, park the RV, go adventure for the day in this, maybe stay the night if there's a rooftop tent, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, what this is potentially turning into. Then go back to the RV and, you know, continue the long road trip. So if you guys have followed along this long in the journey of this channel, I really appreciate you. Bear with me as I'm learning this whole YouTube stuff, and sometimes it's just easier to pull up your iPhone. It's always in my pocket, so it's sometimes easier just to pull up the iPhone. But if you guys have come along this far in the journey, I appreciate you. Again, I know we haven't done much adventures, but they're coming, trust me. I want it with a baby, with 2 babies, a 2-year-old and a baby, and my wife. I want this thing to be dialed. I want this to be able to get us to and from where we're going, just have no issues. And you know, GM has proven that this platform is reliable, and it kind of stinks because they're moving away from the old trusty V8s, LSs. So with this being the 8.1 tank, this should last. It only has 80,000. I got it at 80,000 miles, so this should last. I mean, this could be a million mile motor, and with all the blood, sweat, and little tears that I'm putting into this, building it out to be an adventure rig, I think we're gonna have a vehicle for the history books. So stay along with me, and let's grow the channel. Let's watch this channel evolve. And you know, my dream is always to see my kid driving this at 18. So let's make it a 1,000,000-mile truck and just continue to watch the evolution. So with that being said, I hope you all have a great rest of your week. I'll catch you on the next one.